an honor being here today again. So I guess you've all been doing great. So I'm so glad and happy that today is 2 days to the end of this 3-week-long professional training on project management. And in today's class, we are going to be looking at another new and interesting knowledge area. So after today's class, we will be left with just one class cover, and we'll bring the training to an end. So the knowledge areas that we have left, they are also quite important, very important knowledge areas that as project managers, as aspiring project managers, or project lead and team leads, that we need to get ourselves acquainted with, get ourselves familiar with. Many of the knowledge areas we have treated so far as project management is concerned, all those knowledge areas are very, very important, and they are necessary skills that project managers must have. So I welcome you all once again to class, and it's going to be an interesting one. And we have our ever-ready resource person who is going to be here, who's going to be taking us in those classes. So in today's class, we'll be making use of some of our materials from before, and trust me, it's actually going to be a very, very engaging and interesting one as such. And I want to believe that, yes, everyone has made efforts towards attending to their assessments. Yes, so far we've had about 8 assessments on everything that has been covered in this class. So I want to please, if you have not done your assessments, you've not attended to them, maybe due to busy schedule or the likes, I want to encourage us to please find time to do it. It's important, it is necessary. Aside from it being a means to test your understanding of what has been taught so far, it's also a requirement for you to get in the certification for this one. So please just do attend to them. You just require 60% performance in it in order to qualify for the certification. Yes, and even with that, then you know that yes, at least 60% performance is an average score, and that yes really shows that yes, all that has been taught is quite understandable. So please let us attend to them. So, and I will not stop without saying that I want to give kudos and appreciation to everyone who has been with us in this class right from the day one. It has not been easy. A lot of people have dropped, perhaps due to maybe work schedule or the likes, but that you have been able to make it this far with us, yes, it really shows your resilience. It really shows, yes, the commitment you have towards getting this knowledge. And we appreciate that a whole lot about you. Yes, not many people can actually keep up, but the fact that you have always been here with us in the live class is worthy fit to recognize. So thank you very much, and we appreciate that. Okay, so we have a whole lot to discuss in today's class. Like I did mention, today, after today's class, we will be left with just one knowledge area to cover. And yes, we'll bring this training to our close. Yes, and let me also appreciate those who have been showing interest in the certification, maybe our installment payments, and some have even made full payment. So we appreciate you a whole lot, and I'm encouraging others who are yet to do that, that please take hold of the discount opportunity that you have given. The discount offer is going to be ending 3rd of May. That's the special discount, and afterwards the other discount offer is going to take over. So please let us encourage us to take that opportunity and to try as much as possible to make the payment for the certification. Okay, so without further ado, let us go straight to our class of today. So our resource person for this training, none other than our very own Mr. James Fadiyi, who is will be here shortly, and we are going to be diving into what it has for us as far as this class is concerned. So please, I want you to please give him your undivided attention while he sets out why he takes on the class. So please, if you have questions at the end of the class, we'll give ample opportunity for you to ask your questions. Okay, so please, once you can see my screen, please just give me a thumbs up. Okay, so please, once you can see my screen, just give me a thumbs up. So I know that, yes. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. King. Okay, so the next voice you'll be hearing will be that of Mr. James Paniyi. So please let us enjoy the class. So the course is project procurement management.
We have a very critical knowledge area to discuss. And we wonder why every knowledge area, any knowledge area, in project management is actually critical. It is important, it's vital for the project success. So you cannot underestimate the influence of any of the 10 knowledge areas. It is very important that you really become, masters of the profession by having a thorough understanding of the 10 knowledge areas and being able, number one, you need to know the dangers this can actually bring to your project if not handled properly. And you should know how and why you should apply them, as according to your project requirements. So our training today is on project procurement management. Let me share my screen. Project procurement management. It's going to be detailed one, project procurement management. So how many of us have worked in sales, or let me say procurement related job? You have done procurement related job before. And I see us wave. Can you raise your hand if you have done procurement related job before? You have worked in a sales department before. Okay. All right. So let's do justice to this. What is procurement management? Okay. So procurement management involves planning, conducting, and administering contracts to acquire goods. So what we really I want you to pay attention to today. But that's why I was asking questions about if you have done any related or you have worked in any related field to procurement management. Many people, what comes to their mind when they hear about this procurement, their mind actually goes toward goods. Their mind actually goes to products, goods, but procurement actually goes beyond, just purchasing or acquiring what? Goods. Goods, services, or results from external sources. This is what project procurement management entails. So let's analyze it. So in project procurement management, we do planning, we conduct, that's conducting, and we administer. Administering. Okay. These three, what do we do? What do we plan? What do we conduct? What do we administer? That's contracts. In other words, this aspect of project management is dealing with your relationship with some external contractors. These are not your project team members. They are not really on board, okay, as your project team members. They are people, either an organization, a group of people or person that you want to use as a contractor, in the aspect of goods, services, or a specific result. that is needed for your project success. For example, I've used this example, in many of my training before. I have worked in a company that happens to be a contractor to the telecommunication industries, majorly that we have in our nation here. So, and if I'm talking about our telecommunication industries, I'm referring to the likes of MTN, Glo, Etisalat, Airtel. This company manage their sites. The company actually manage their sites, their masts. Okay, so we manage it for them. And the aspect that we handle is actually the power aspect. So we know that the sites must actually run with power 24/7, non-stop. Anytime there is no power, there will be downtime. So either we are running it on hybrid, both on battery and maybe then or supply from power holding company and all that. Ours is to maintain the site and ensure that everything is actually powered and supplied, so that there won't be downtime. So this company have a contract, with this telecommunication industry. So it could be 10 years contract, it could be 5 years contract that the telecommunication industry may actually choose to renew with them or not. But it is a contract, and this is aspect we are looking at. So when you're looking at procurement doesn't mean that you are just buying something or you are employing, an organization or some set of people to buy. It might be for them to offer a specific service. The IT aspect of our project, we can actually contract it out, such that it will be handled by an IT firm who will be a contractor to us. The nature of the contracts might actually differ. It might be for a specific period of time, or it might be based on the value that they want to render to us. So, when you think about project procurement management, in summary, then it comes to your mind that we want to manage contracts. We want to plan, we want to conduct, we want to administer contracts. Okay, that could be either to acquire goods, either to acquire services, or result from external sources. The external sources could be an individual, could be an organization, or a group of people. So let us note that as a very good foundation for the knowledge of this training. So the procurement management ensures that project processes align, procurement processes align with project objectives, the scope, and the schedule. What are we talking about? In procurement management, we are not only concerned with just, getting contractors. We really want to make sure that the procurement, processes will actually favor or will be in line with what we have planned on the project, either in the aspect of scope, either in the aspect of the objectives that we have set, or the schedule that we have. For example, if we would need some goods to be supplied, maybe to our project site, and this supply is actually needed in 3 months' time, you wouldn't want to get a supplier that would only be able to supply within 6 months, because this will jeopardize the schedule that we have made for the project. So the procurement management now will ensure that even when we have gotten the best supplier, that we know that they will deliver quality and the person deliver within the period of time that is needed. If we need something within 3 months and we got somebody that will take like 6 months to deliver it, that is not aligning with the project objectives, which is the project schedule right now. So, in a nutshell, project procurement management can destabilize everything in the project. That's the summary you should have. When you have the best, and the most skillful project members who actually know their onions, and they're actually good at what they do. They are on ground to work. But the tools and the goods that they will use to work has not arrived. So what happens to the project? There is nothing they can do. The project will have to wait until our procurement is actually successful. So what happens if what we have actually planned during our schedule management is that the procurement will be ready in 3 months, and then it's now taking 6 months, 8 months, yet we have not actually had what the procurement done. That is very terrible for a project. Another beautiful illustration that we can have that can make you to connect so well with project procurement management. I've actually been to many events, but I've been to a beautiful event before where everything was so perfect. But the caterers, either they use the members of the family, the food did not arrive early. To the extent that people have enjoyed themselves, they've had a beautiful time with the MC and all that. Everything has been done. It was a wedding, it was a marriage, it was a wedding marriage ceremony, and everything has been done. But people were just, guests were just sitting like looking at the left and right. It could be a funny experience in a country like Nigeria, especially in Africa. People are expecting that, well, yes, you must actually water their mouths when they attend your event. People are looking like left and right. The aroma is not coming from anywhere. So the food did not arrive on time. So you can see something like that. As beautiful as different events may be, you plan to actually feed people, but your caterer did not actually arrive on time. So what becomes of your events? Would you actually say the event is actually successful? In fact, this actual one that I witnessed, a lot of people have started standing up and taking their leave. Some in their mind might actually conclude that, hey, would you walk up to and say, please, let me plan for food, though my caterer has not arrived and all that. So you just look at that. So those people that attended this event could be referred, you can liken them to your project team. Your project team, your stakeholders, the project owners, all of them. You have given them the beautiful plan. You have presented the project scope, how you will manage it, how you will manage schedule, the quality, you have guaranteed how the quality will be managed. Even the risk analysis was on point and everything. And everything has been signed. Even you must have told them, even the procurement plan and all that. But the procurement actually, your contractor actually disappointed you, which is very common to projects. Contractors, they disappoint a lot. It might be disappointment in terms of the value delivery. It might be a disappointment in terms of, time frame. Okay. It might be, a disappointment that has to do with your earlier agreement, bridging agreements. And these can destabilize all the beautiful work that you have done. What happens when you actually make payment and inferior materials are actually being supplied to your site? There is no way the project owner will be happy. There are a lot of contracts, there are a lot of projects like that actually failed, not because the project manager was not really good with his skill or had a bad intention, to actually, do something that is inferior. But the contractors were actually the problem. They practically fail in the aspect of procurement management. So you can see why your project success or judging the success of your project is never complete without a huge success in procurement management. You wouldn't want to have a beautiful plan and then you have a contractor ruin it. You wouldn't want to have your project, members on site who you will practically pay for that day. You call them that there will be what? Some activities on that day, and they are here gathered, but they've been waiting. Either your mind is that, oh, the contractor said it will supply by 7 a.m. Perhaps you have done plus or minus. You say, okay, let's say latest by 9 it will arrive. And people were still waiting on site. 11 a.m., 12 p.m., 1 p.m. So you know what you have lost? You have lost time for the day. You have lost resources in your budget because those people have come. You have to. You are the one that did not make use of them. They have come to work that day, and they will get their payments. You have no right for you to say you will deduct out of their what, their payment, because they were actually present, but there was nothing to work with. So it is a very, very important knowledge area that should be handled carefully. So let's look at the objectives. Briefly, I've explained them, but let's look at the outlined objectives. So in project procurement management, what we do is we acquire necessary goods and services. Note, goods and services. You do not only procure goods, you can also procure what? Services. I've given an example of an IT firm and an example of a company where I've worked before. What we were actually giving to the telecommunication industry, what we offer them is actually what? Service. Maintenance service. That's what we're doing. We're maintaining their sites. And that is procurement. There's some procurement that has to do with what? Supply of goods. Perhaps we are a manufacturing company, like most of these, food producing company. Some of them that use cassava, they may have some farmers as their contractors. These people will go to farm, they will plant, and then they know that what they will supply them what? Cassava, because cassava is a major is a major item. So they have some of these people, as suppliers of those raw materials. So acquisition of necessary goods and services is one of the objectives. In fact, it is procurement management. We have to ensure compliance with laws and regulations. This is very important. You have to actually obey laws and regulations even while you are doing your procurement. Are there agreements or some terms that you have signed? Are there some legal terms of things you have to do? You must actually what? Ensure that what? You comply. In procurement management, what is the essence of actually what? Getting contractors? Because we want to minimize risk and cost. We want to really be focused on the other key areas of the project. We want some people to actually what? Bear some responsibility on our behalf, and at the same time, some of the risk will actually will be shifted on them. We want to maximize value for money. Okay, so that we'll be able to account for what we are procuring, and we'll be able to actually point at what our procurement has achieved in the course of the project. And then we want to ensure timely delivery. I've mentioned this and I cannot overemphasize this. Procurement is useless if it did not actually meet up with time schedule for it. You can imagine, somebody wants to actually get married, and then you already have the caterer, everyone, so the caterer is actually to a lot of funny experience. That's why I'm just smiling. So you have the contractor to actually deliver cake, on the morning of your wedding, and the person has not arrived even till around 3 p.m. and you've been calling, and the person is still calling. No matter maybe all the excuse in this whole world that the person wants to give, at that time you don't want to, you don't care. There is no way you actually want to welcome such excuses. Oh, I'm in traffic jam, I'm in this and everything. So imagine the person brings the cake around 4 or 5 when almost all your guests have gone. The cake is useless to you, because most cake at events, wedding and all that, it's not because husband and wife are hungry of cake. They really want to, it's for decoration, it's to beautify the event, it's for show off. In most cases, you really want people to see how gigantic your cake is. Did they actually was there did they place the picture of you and your husband on it? How beautiful it is for picture purposes, and the style of how both of you will cut the cake. So once the procurement did not meet up with the time schedule, then the procurement become useless. And that can also happen to any project. So we will start, okay, with procurement management processes. Okay, so let's look at the processes involved in procurement management. So the first one, let's narratively look at them. We are still going to look at them in details. So procurement planning, what do we do in this process? So we want to make plans for our procurement, and part of this plan is for us to identify procurement needs. What are the things that we really want to procure? Please, you should note there's a huge difference between wants and needs. We want to procure only things that we actually need, and not what we want on projects. So needs means that we really want to be sure that we are not wasteful in our procurement. If we need 1,000 units, even if we want to actually put some excess, perhaps you want to make up for some uncertainties as a project manager, as a project manager, and with your analysis, okay, you say, okay, instead of 1,000 units, let them supply 1,050 units. If your calculation has been accurate, you will not go above that. But when there is no plan for us to actually itemize what we need, you can over procure and you can under procure when it comes to goods. You may require for 1,500 units, and when those 1,500 units had arrived, in the process of using them, you discover that you are going to need up to 2,500. So when you place order for that kind of procurement, perhaps you are using the same contractor. You look at the time that will actually take you before that procurement can also arrive again, the cost of the logistics, the transportations and all that. So that will be hitting into your budget, which will actually affect project cost management. That must have eaten deep into your schedule, which is project schedule management. So you see how your procurement can affect every other knowledge area. Can attack every other important or key baseline for your project success. So in procurement planning, our goal is to identify procurement needs, and then we develop the procurement strategy. What strategy do we want to use in our procurement? We are going to look at this in details in the course of the class. And then we establish the procurement budget. So you should have a budget, like what I've explained. The budget for 1,000 units will definitely be different from budget for 1,500 units. You are in need of 1,000, and then you request, please give me a second. Pardon me, please. Right. So you are in need of 1,000, and then you request or you order for 1,500. So what happens to the remaining 500 after they arrive? What happened after you have made use of the 1,000? Okay, and then you have 500 that are just, on ground, unused, on tap. That will be wasteful, and that will be against, project management knowledge, because you need to manage your costs, and in managing your cost, definitely you don't want to you don't want to have a cost overrun. That aspect might affect every other aspect that you may need to actually spend on. So it is very important that we make a robust plan for our procurement. So the second process is the solicitation. You are soliciting for, either you are requesting for information, either you are now calling out for proposal, either you are calling out for quotation. Because right now you have identified, these are the things that we need for our projects. These are the things we want to procure. But now you want to know which organization or contractors will be able to give you what you want, not only giving you what you want, the quality delivery, the timely delivery. Okay, the quality is also talking about the value, and cost-effective delivery. For example, if I have a contractor that will give me the same quality at $500, I wouldn't want to go for a contractor that is charging me $1,000. So in solicitation, the focus is for us to actually request for information. Information that will show us that who are the people, who are the contractors that fit into what we need. Who are the contractors? You don't want to mess up giving a contract to people that cannot deliver. So we need information about, contractors that can actually undo what the aspect of this project that we want to actually procure, either goods or services. And why do we actually need to request for information? For quality control. For quality control. That's where you'll be, hearing some terms like, how long have they been doing this? Give us samples of the likes of contracts that you have handled and that look like this. What is the largest of the contracts you have handled before? We really want to check if they really fit in or capable. Now, aside requesting for their information, then when we are now sure that, yes, these people, we have shortlisted, this kind of people are capable, they can actually deliver. Then they have to give us the proposals. What are their proposals? We tell them the requirements. These are the things that we need. Okay, what will it take you to and do it? In the proposals, You know, the time frame and everything will be stated there. For us to actually do a proper, you know, choice of the best for us or the best for the project success. So we either request for proposal or we request for what? Quotation. So when you are seeing sometimes, you need to note it like RFI. You should know that that is actually what? Request for information. When you see RFP, you know that that is request for proposal. And when you see RFQ, you know that that is request for quotation. So after we have requested, and these people have actually was submitted proposal, the next process is for us to actually what? Select. So now is to what? Make our choice. You want to select, you know, without being biased. You want to select, you know, the contractor that you believe is capable, that can work with your budget, and that can deliver what? Quality. Please note all these things I'm mentioning. A contractor that is capable, that can deliver quality for you, that can deliver, you know, within your time schedule, that can work with your what? With your budget. Cost effectiveness. Now, these are the qualities that you really want to consider when you are doing your what? Selection. So you evaluate your proposals, select suppliers, and then negotiate contracts. So after you have selected them, in this case, oh, can you do $450? Oh, can you do $400? Okay, can you deliver within 6 months? Oh, can you deliver within what? 8 months? So all these negotiation will be on. And then the fourth one is the contract administration. After we have made our agreement, after we have actually what? Selected the contractor or the suppliers, then it's time for us to manage the contracts and monitor the performance and ensure compliance. So you don't wait or just believe that you have had a robust agreement, you have made the right choice, and then you go and relax. Yes, the contractor may tell you, oh, just relax, we'll handle it. But you still have to follow up. You have to track it. Like take, for instance, many of us that do online, you know, purchase, or you actually purchase goods online. There are what we call tracking. You can track your goods. Yes, you know that your goods should actually be delivered next week Friday. So for us to actually understand, you know, the aspect of monitoring very well, that's why I'm explaining this. So you know that the supply should actually what? Be made next week Friday, or let's say next month, and perhaps it's coming out of the country. So you want to know where the, you know, where the materials or where those things that will be supplied to you, where they have gotten to. Something is coming maybe by road and they are bringing it from Abuja. It's coming from Abuja, and then you are in Lagos. There is time frame for the delivery. You want to be rest assured that you will not be disappointed, and that's why you are what? Keeping what? The tracking. You want to know when this person has gotten to what? Lokoja. Where have you gotten to? Oh, we are now in Lokoja. You look at the time. You calculate. Of course, you know how long it will take somebody traveling by road, you know, approximately from Lokoja to Lagos. So you can foresee disappointment. That's what monitoring will actually what? Help you to do. In tracking, you know, the contract, measuring the performance. Because by measuring, you will know when the contractor is digressing from the quality of the project or from the agreement. And then that can help you to stop, you know, a huge damages being done on your project success. There are a lot of times that what? There can be emergency, you know, we are going to look at it. Emergency procurement. either due to disappointment or due to what the situation warranting it. And when you don't maintain that close monitoring, if you go and sit down and relax that, oh, they have said that if you arrive by Friday, you are not calling, you are not doing anything, a lot of things can happen. If you have suppliers that are actually what, they have multiple clients and all that, they may actually what, even forget your deadline. So by calling, by checking, you can be saying, oh, hope you did not forget our agreement. Oh, yes, I know. What is our agreement? Oh, your agreement is that what, it should be on Friday. Please, oh, okay, all right, okay, you caught. Next 2 days again, you call again. I just want to check up. I hope everything is still okay. Oh, everything is all right. Keep tracking until the D-Day. But you can imagine you expecting what? Some supplies on site, maybe project site, on Friday, and then you just call on Thursday evening. And the supplier started, oh my God, I thought your deadline is next month. Okay, what happened to that? That is what? Because you did not undo the process contract administration properly. Majorly for you to monitor performance and for you to ensure compliance. And then, last but not the least, is for you to have what? Contract closure. You really want to actually document some lessons that you have learned. You really want to itemize some highly performing contractors that you can actually document how well they did on these just concluded contracts, so that you already have them as loyal, procurement provider for any other subsequent project that you may have. You really want to note that down, those suppliers or those contractors that you may not have to even what? Try again, due to the kind of what? Disappointment or bridging agreement that happened in the course of this just concluded project. So you want to document all this. Okay, if there are some disputes between you and the suppliers, this is where you actually what? Settle it. Did they actually what? The fault is on words? Are there some amount you need to remit to them? Are there some incentives that you really need to what? Pay? So this is where you actually what? Talked about that. So contract closure is very, very important. It gives you, is where you actually do the overall review of everything that you have done in the course of procurement. I mentioned in the last training, hardly will you see any knowledge area that does not have what? Closure. Okay, hardly. You really need to actually what? Monitor. You need to document some, lessons that you have learned in a particular process. Very important. So procurement types, let's look at this briefly. Okay, I'm still going to talk in detail on them. So we have fixed price contract. We are going to talk about that. That's payment based on fixed price. Cost reimbursable contracts. That's payment based on actual cost. We are going to explain that in details. Time and materials contract. Payment based on hourly rate and materials. Unit price contract. Payment based on unit price. So we'll discuss all this. But let's look at, in this category, let's discuss the case study. Just for us to actually, brush through the 5 processes that we have discussed for project procurement management. So let's look at a construction company that needs to procure materials and services for a large scale project. So this is the construction company. So they were in need of some materials and services, and it's actually for their project that is actually a large scale. So let's look at how this company would follow the 5 procurement processes. So the first process is procurement planning. So they identified materials and services required. So for this company now, what they did is that what are the materials that we actually need? Based on the fact that they are a construction company, do they need iron? Do they need cement? Okay, how many bags? Okay, how many units of iron rods do they need? So everything this company are done. They need some services. Do they need people that will do casting for them? Do they want to actually what? Hire some company that will just handle the aspect of casting and all that? So they have actually itemized what the services needed. And then they move to solicitation. So what did they do next? What they did next is to issue what? RFP. Okay, I hope we now understand, because that is why I actually what explain those acronyms then, so that you can actually what follow up with it. So request for proposal, okay, to potential suppliers. So they actually what ask the potential suppliers, if you feel that what you are a capable supplier, okay, you already see our itemized, goods and services needed for procurement. So let's have your proposals. So they went further to request for proposal. So next, after the proposals have been sent, this company now did what we call source selection. In other words, they evaluated the proposals and selected what suppliers that they will use. You might need more than one supplier. Okay? You might need more than one supplier. So this, particular company now, carefully evaluated the proposals that have been sent to them, and then they selected those suppliers that they want to use. And then they move to the next process, contract administration. Okay, so they now manage the contract and ensure compliance. Ensuring compliance means that what you need to monitor, give close monitoring to the what. In fact, in some ways, you may have a member of your project or more than a member attached to a particular contractor. You may make the contractors to actually what report to them, so that these people actually what brief you on what is actually going on. If you are handling what a very large scale what project, so that you can get reports. How soon will it take them? What have they done? What are they working on? Especially if it's in the aspect of services. And then contract closure for this company, what did they do? They documented lessons learned. So all the lessons that they have learned, they actually what? Documented it. Okay, these are the list of the contractors that did well. So we have actually learned that if we want to really what buy this kind of goods next time, we should order for it maybe 6 months before the time that it will be needed. That might be the lesson learned. Maybe your procurement or your request for proposal actually went out late. Okay, maybe you took too long a time in doing your evaluation. What happens when you have more than enough proposals? We are going to look at that, how all these can actually affect the procurement management. So what's the result of this company? They had a successful project completion on time and within budget. Why do they have this within budget? They must have selected a supplier that could work with their budget. Why was it on time? Because they did close monitoring. This process of contract administration, they did close monitoring on their contractors, and that actually led to successful project completion. The second case study is about an IT firm that needed to procure software development services. So their procurement planning, they also define the project requirement. What do they need? What kind of software? Okay. What kind of services do they need on their software? Solicitation, they issued request for proposals to potential developers. And then they evaluated the proposals and selected the developer that they will use. And then they managed the contract and ensured compliance and documented lessons learned. So this should actually help you to, have this process, know it by heart and know it by hand without forgetting any of them. So let's move on to the details. Okay, I'm still going to explain this. So, but it's very important that we talk about procurement metrics. What are the metrics? What are the KPI, key performance indicator that will actually show if you are actually, or that should guide your procurement management? The first one is the procurement cycle time. You should know the time frame it will take. The performance rating, okay, supplier performance rating. What are the things that is actually that will guide, the supplier performance? Okay, that will actually give you, how do you measure the performance of the supplier? Contract compliance rate. Okay, what are the things that will guide that the contractor actually stick to the agreement for them to actually comply? Okay, procurement cost savings, cost effectiveness of the procurement process efficiency, the flow of the procurement. So all these things actually guide the procurement success. So now, the first process that we have discussed, which is procurement planning. Now we want to be taking those processes, those 5 processes that we just treated now. I want to take them, in a more detailed, explanation. So procurement planning, these are kind of itemized 11 steps that will guide you as a project manager for your procurement management plan. So you have to define the roles and responsibilities that we have mentioned, define the needs and requirements. So what are the roles and responsibilities? Who are those people among your project team that must actually handle this aspect of procurement? Like I explained, you have to have people who might actually work, directly with the contractor to ensure proper monitoring, to ensure that there is actually compliance, okay, that they comply to what you have agreed on, so that it will not jeopardize the project success. I think it's been, close to 1 hour. So let me check on you. You know that you've been with us. Now, please give me thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. That's great. That's wonderful. All right. So you must define the roles and responsibilities. You must define needs and requirements. Okay. What are the things that you need on the project? What are the requirements? Okay. The types of agreements you really want to use. The market research and review of past procurement data. Do you actually have some procurement data? Like if you have you check your organizational process asset, that's your OPA, okay? To know if there are some assets, some guides that can actually guide you on the procurement. And then you have risk management, okay? So how do you really want to manage the risk on the procurement? Define accurate budget. This is where you actually you have to actually work on an accurate budget for your procurement. The timeline in planning, you need to actually decide when do you need this procurement, or the time frame that you want to attach to it. What are the constraints, possible constraints that you may actually have on this procurement? If it is outside the country, perhaps the supplier will actually bring the goods outside the country. You should be able to look at what are the things that will be constrained. Is it the logistic? So you should be factual about the constraints. The contract should be approved. You get the approval. What are the things the criteria that will guide your decision in the course of this procurement? Is it that when you are looking at time, maybe the person is not serious with time? Is that the criteria that will judge, the kind of decision you may have to make? or when you see that the person is deviating from the quality of the goods, so all these must be planned for. And then you create a vendor management plan for you to actually what? Have a good monitoring, or monitoring plan on the procurement to ensure that it does not affect your project plan. So all this is what we actually have under the procurement. So under this, you define the procurement requirements, conduct market research, develop procurement strategy, establish procurement budgets, identify potential suppliers, develop procurement schedule, develop evaluation criteria. That's for evaluating supplier proposals. What are the things that will guide your evaluation? Are you expecting, a supplier that will work on this to have minimum of 5 years experience? Are there some? Are you looking for those that have done, exactly like this before, or you are looking for even people that are actually what maybe novice or they are just starter? Perhaps they can also what handle it. So all these must be, the criteria that you must have what stated. So what are the tools that you can use? Okay, you can actually decide whether to produce or purchase goods or services. These are decision making. Like the example I gave about the telecommunication industry, when they first started in our country, they did not contract, the maintenance aspect of their site, they did not contract it out. MTN practically, employ engineers. They have engineers being employed that actually go on site to maintain all these sites. There must have been a lot of things that they must have seen. Perhaps they couldn't even manage these people, properly, or maybe these people were not actually giving what the result they actually what expected. A lot of things must have actually what, push them to seeking for contractors or companies that can actually handle this for them. So they actually enter into contract with them. So you, as a project manager, you must first decide, am I producing these things? Do I want to handle it? Do I want to absorb it to my project team? Or I want to contract it out? So that's what we call make or buy analysis. So you must analyze. What will I gain if I'm to manufacture these things? If I should do it myself? Because this is where you know what to actually what contract out and what should not contract out. It is not everything. If not, everything that happens to do what the project activities will just want turn to procurement. As you can procure services, you can also procure goods. But you need to sit down. There are things that you should actually what absorb as services. There are things you should actually take on that you know that what project team members should be able to handle. And there are things you know that they are actually critical. You need, people who are actually experienced in that aspect to handle it. You may not be experienced in, sourcing for those goods. You know that you need these goods, but you may not be able to source for them. So there are companies that are actually experts in this area. They can source for them. There are companies, if you need, even million, tons of cassava, you need cassava tubers today. There are companies that if you need a truckload of it, they may be able to even supply it next week. They have the connection. So can you do the work? Do you want to go through the stress of traveling to villages and meeting farmers and all that? And just re-establishing relationship with them. You don't even know those among them that may disappoint you or that will not disappoint you. You want to do all that yourself? If part of your project requires that you get some farm, product, or do you think that it will be safer for you to get those people who are actually what experts in this area for them to actually undo it. All you just need to discuss with them is what you need, and they will tell you the charges, you know the kind of contract you want to sign, and then you should be expecting your goods. The rest that you need to know, do for you to be monitoring. Okay, so supplier qualification, pre-qualification also. So evaluating the potential suppliers' qualifications. I mentioned this. Do you want your suppliers to have like 5 years experience? No, if you see some job vacancy or job vacancy promotion rather, when you see the requirement, you will know whether you are needed, your service is needed or not. Sometimes you will see like 10 years work experience. Some company will even say that you must have worked in a relevant company. That means that, for example, if MTN is the one actually releasing that kind of vacancy, they expect you to say that what you have worked with Glo before or you have worked with Airtel before. They are expecting you to have a related what field experience. So you must be able to actually what use supplier pre-qualification, request for information, gather information from potential suppliers. I've explained that. You need information about them. Market analysis, analyze market conditions and trends. You need to understand the market. For example, 10 years ago, the way the farmers actually go to farm might be different from now. Number one, most of the places where they have farms are becoming civilized areas where they are now building infrastructures. Number two, rate of insecurity. Many of them don't want to go to farm again. You know, all these things, you must understand them. What is happening in the market and what are the trends? It will guide, your procurement planning. And then procurement management software, you can actually use software to manage procurement processes. For example, you see a company like Jumia, what they're actually using is actually what online, which you can actually relate. There are some specific software you can use, but I'm using that for you to actually relate. So you can see when you order goods from Jumia, you can track, you can track your goods to know where your goods is and when it will be delivered. In fact, when you want to place your order, they already put, some estimated duration there for you. If you are staying around this particular so, this is how long it will take for your goods to arrive. This is the logistics. If there will be delivery fee, everything is already stated. If you want door-to-door step delivery, the payment will also be separated from if you want a centrally located delivery unit that they are running with, so that you go and pick your goods there. So all these you must know if you can actually use software to actually monitor your progress. What are the outputs? Then you have your procurement management plan. You will have your procurement budgets. Those are the output that you will have, the supplier list, and then the evaluation criteria with your procurement schedule. So you will have this as the output. Let's look at the solicitation. In solicitation, as you can see, solicitation among the processes, okay, your plan for the solicitation and then solicitation itself. So I've explained, so this is where you solicit, you request for either proposals, either for quotations, and the objective is for you to obtain information from potential suppliers, okay? You want to actually evaluate supplier capability and qualification. So I've explained all this, all right? Your method of solicitation. Competitive solicitation, that's when you have multiple suppliers competing. Non-competitive solicitation, that is when you go for a particular supplier. For example, I can say this road will be constructed by Julius Berger, and I just go and approach Julius Berger directly for them to give me quotation. And you can have an online platform, okay, where people begin to bid. Okay, there are platforms, yes, they exist. You know, you can use those platforms where people will actually what bid. For example, you can make use of let's say you need some you can make use of Gigi, okay. I think you can make use of even Jumia. How many units do you need and all that? There are several platforms that you may actually what explore to say, okay, fine, people should begin to actually bring in their proposals. Okay, what will it take you to give us 1,000 units of this? What will it take you to supply 2,000 units? Location is mentioned, duration is mentioned, the quality is mentioned, okay, and all that. So the criteria of your solicitation evaluation might be technical capability. Do they have the technical expertise? Do they really understand it? Have they been in that particular field for a very good time? Do they have success track record? And they give you, some projects they have actually supplied for. So you can use technical. Financial stability. How stable are they? You want to really give this contract to people that you know that they cannot run away with your money. Experience. I've mentioned that. Do they have experience? Price. What price are they quoting for you? Can you work with the price? And what quality will they actually deliver with the price? Sometimes the price is a function of the quality. But there are sometimes that you can have people who really just want to make a name or they want to establish relationship with you, and then they may be ready to even give you, supply something, that you had a quotation somewhere about, let's say, not too far, maybe $650, and then they are telling you that they will supply it at $500, and they are guaranteeing the quality. In fact, they may even give you the sample. You may have to go with them. And that's why you see sometimes, some company may not actually renew contracts because they want to actually test some other contractors, perhaps that are willing to offer the same thing, with a lesser price. It happens a lot. So let's source selection. I've mentioned it. This is where you now select, among those proposals. So what are the objectives? We want to select the most qualified supplier. That's the focus. We want to ensure compliance with laws and regulations, obtain the best value for the money, and then minimize our risk and ensure timely delivery. So these will guide our selection. So what I normally mention in this category is that it will not pay you as a project manager to be biased in this. You will see a lot of people lobbying for this. It happens even in government, ministries. You will see people lobbying for it. You will see people bringing in who knows who in this particular category. Most of the failed projects procurement is when you bring in familiarity in the procurement. Don't forget that the project management training focus on you satisfying the project conditions and requirements, and not to satisfy people really. So project management is not for biased people. You can't give procurement to people who do not really have any idea. They don't even understand how to test quality goods for the kind of goods that you want them to actually supply you. There are many projects today that fail because, inferior materials are being supplied. So this is not the time for you to be biased. A lot of, in a case like this, you will have secretary talking to the manager to say, I have somebody that can handle it. Meanwhile, he's looking for commission. He's talking to the person for him to actually have a court. You will have somebody, brother, younger sister, saying that I can do it. He has been doing it for many years. Please help me to give him the contract. He will supply it perfectly. We don't care. But what should we care about? Yes, the person that you are bringing, first thing first, we really want to test if the person actually what is a qualified supplier. If the person, okay, want to ensure that giving this contract with this person, we did not breach what the laws and regulations. Are there regulations on this kind of procurement? And the person give us what value for our money? Will the person be able to actually what help us to minimize risk so that our project success will not be what affected? And the person actually deliver on time? So if the person can do this, well, you may begin to consider if it's among those who that bid for the contract, and not just being biased to say, oh, I know this person, so let him go and handle it. So project management is not a political grant. It is a business grant where you really need to be factual, okay? Not thinking and making decisions with your emotions, but making decisions with your head. So source selection process, we have actually what? Discussed that. And then we have administration, contract administration, okay? So we really want to actually what? Administer this where you can actually look at the flow. Needs recognition, you have actually itemized your needs, okay? Purchase requisition, you have released, need for proposals, and then you have actually evaluated what the proposals for you to actually what select, and then your budget is actually what approved for the procurement. You have the quotations, you negotiate, you receive goods and services, okay? Different ways, okay? Different ways that may actually what be supplied to you. Invoice, you get invoice for those things that are actually purchased. It depends on the contract. I'm still going to discuss that based on the types of contracts. And then you have what? Your record what? Keeping. So contract administration, as I've mentioned before, is where you now manage the contract. This is where you actually what? Manage the contract. This is where you monitor the what? Performance of the contract. This is where you ensure that what you have signed for is what is actually what being delivered. And then we have the contract closure. Okay, I've explained what's the objective. The objective is for us to verify the contract completion, ensure final payments, document lesson learned, evaluate supplier performance. This is very important. You will know either to try this person again or is a no-go area based on their performance. And then you close what? The contract administratively. So this actually marks the end of our project procurement processes. So let's move to discussing the procurement types, okay? Direct procurement, indirect procurement, goods procurement, service procurement. I've mentioned, goods procurement, service what? Services procurement. Either it is a direct procurement or indirect procurement. But what we really want to explain here is for us to know, various, types of procurement, or what we can refer to as the various methods that you can use to acquire goods, the services, or work from external sources. So the first one is what we call open procurement. What is the characteristic features of open procurement? Where you actually have open bidding, public advertisement, you advertise for it, that, the general public is now required to send in their proposals. If you know that you can handle, so you must have listed your services and everything. And then, so if you know that you are capable to handle this, send your proposal. It's just like advertising for job. And you say that what? Qualified, candidates to send their proposal, to send their CV or the application letter to so. That's exactly what you are doing in open procurement. Okay, so it actually ensures that what there is equal opportunity for all suppliers. You don't care who is who. You really want people to actually compete. You want to choose the best. You want to go for the best. What are the advantages of this? It promotes competition, yes. And when there's competition, of course, there will be transparency, and there will fairness will actually what be required. So these are the things that it promotes. But as good as this may sound, it is actually time consuming. I mentioned it earlier. What happens when you have 1,000 proposals? So that you see there are some companies that they may, once they see, once they release advertisement tonight, they have decided that what it is only the first 100, application. That's why many people do not get what job opportunities. When you look at the date, there are some job, opportunities that sometimes, then when I still used to send a CV back to back, now earlier years of being graduates, you see a job vacancy that has been released like 2 weeks ago, and you really want to send, it takes space for you to send your own application after 2 weeks. There are many companies that will close the gate. Once they receive 50, it is only those 50 that they will evaluate. Every other that are coming in is just for public, show up. They don't have the time. They don't have that time to receive 1,500, applications, and then you want to sit down and go through the 5 applications. There are companies that do that. There are companies that go through every 100. If they need, 100 applicants, they want to shortlist 500 applicants. The first 100 that came in, they will shortlist 20. The next 100, they will shortlist another 20. The next 100, they will shortlist 20. So that's how they are 20 will add up to 100. Some companies actually do that. They will pick at random, okay, for them to actually select. Not that they are even looking at any criteria, it's just at random. Because after they have done that, they will now sit down with that 100 to carefully evaluate them. So you can have open, and then this is common to government construction projects. So they may release request for proposals to the general public. So we call it open procurement. There is what we call restricted procurement. That's when you have limited bidding. You set some qualifications, some pre-qualifications for the suppliers. You only reach out to them by invitation only. You already have their list. So in this case, you already have a list of people or contractors that they can handle this kind of procurement. And then those are the people you send email messages to, requesting from them to send you their quotation. So this is quite different from open procurement. You already have enlisted suppliers or contractors that you want to work with. So advantages is that it is faster, reduce administrative burden, but definitely competition will be limited, and then you may actually be biased. That's why you see what you see in people fighting for contracts. It becomes the game of who knows who. People want to lobby with the secretary. They will be finding somebody that is the closest person to the project manager. So you can go extra mile to even find the wife to the project manager so that you can help them to talk to the husband. So you are going to actually open up to a lot of politics when you have targeted people and you are the one reaching out to them on your own. Okay, we have what we call negotiated procurement. The characteristics of this is that there is direct negotiation with a single supplier. So you have a single supplier. This is the supplier that that can give you what you need. So all that you just want to do is for you to actually negotiate. For example, we have a list of companies that have reached out. The way we sign with them is they actually reach out. We are not the one that sends them proposal that we have this kind of training and we can offer them. They are the one that heard about us and sent us proposal. So they only request from us, okay, we want you to train our employees in this also aspect of the training. How much, what duration will it take? How much will it be? Can you please send us a proposal? So that is an example of a negotiated proposal. So even after we have now sent our proposal, they will now begin to negotiate. But come down now. That's an example of what negotiated procurement. So what happens? It is flexible. It's very, very flexible. Yeah, sometimes we will tell you that, okay, drop these aspects. Let us train your workers. Since you cannot afford this, can we train them on this? And then you go with this amount. So when you are buoyant enough, you can actually what? Call out for this other training. So it's flexible, faster process, and tailored solution. So you already know what you want. There's no question of abilities in this one. When you approach a company, it is because you know that that company, you have known them with quality, you have known them with delivery, you have known them with what? Time consciousness, you have known them to actually be flexible in their work budget. And that's why you're approaching them. So you know they have the solution to what you need. But of course, there is, it makes you biased. There might be a lot of other companies out there, that may be able to deliver the same thing. But you are here, you have narrowed down to this particular company. So it can be viewed that even when it has happened before, some other companies may be approaching that company, they are now bringing proposals. But rather than treating their proposals, which they did not request for, they actually they will go all out for the company they have cited that they want to work with. So you can say they are biased, and it can actually cost you higher. Because you, by approaching the company, then you make the company be able to state their price. There have been contracts like that before that, we didn't reach agreement and we say, okay, fine. If you are ready to work with us anytime, you can reach out to us. So if you cannot work with that price, that's okay. So it is higher. Because any company that you're actually approaching, definitely you know that what they can deliver values, or you know that they can give you value for your money. And that's why you're actually approaching them. So we also have what we call sole source procurement. Characteristic: only one qualified supplier. This actually happens a lot. We have some units like that. There is only one person that's actually what supplying this. And that is common, when you have unique expertise, proprietary technology. Perhaps a company is actually, they are the owner of a particular technology. Look at Tesla, okay? You say you need a Toyota product, you really want to, when you see Toyota is a company, okay? I cannot today, build a car from the scratch and write Toyota on it. That would be a crime. So when you have the sole, sometimes, you have government, government, they want to say, okay, we want to buy cars for we see it a lot. We want to purchase cars for all the honorables, want to purchase cars for all the, the senators and all that. And then they know the kind of car they want to purchase. What have they done? They are going to the company for the company to actually supply. You need Google products. Of course, it is only Google that can actually sell those products to you. That is why you are now, narrowed down to a sole supplier, which is only qualified. For the Google product, it's only Google that can give you their product. They are not purchasing from Google, then you are purchasing a different brand entirely. So, higher cost, potential buyers, but unique expertise and proprietary technology. So that's what may require sole source procurement. We have emergency procurement. This is very important. Emergency could be that there is urgent need or limited bidding. You have an urgent need for something. For example, in the case of disasters, okay, maybe we need relief for those people who have been displaced by a particular natural disaster. So government may actually have to urgently develop, some set of settlement for those people. Look at the case of COVID-19 outbreak. So many countries did not actually prepare for COVID-19. But they gave it what? An emergency approach. Emergency approach on research, emergency approach on services. Look at what China did for them to actually isolation center. Yes, if you follow the trend that time. Look at how many isolation center, China was able to build within a week. I think 5 days or six days. I watched it on Arise then. China built, within 6 days, you see how many isolation centers they were able to actually build for their people. That's an emergency, approach. There's an emergency service. Either they engage the service of a private company or anything like that. That is an emergency, an example of an emergency procurement. So the advantage is that there will be rapid response, okay, to address critical needs, but there is still higher cost, because anything that happens to be an emergency, definitely you must actually be able to pay for inconvenience that you are bringing in. Framework agreement procurement. That's where you can have perhaps long-term agreements, or you have some pre-established terms. You have some terms being stated out in the agreement. You have an agreement in the procurement. That's the framework. So you have your own framework. You have things that guide your procurement. When you are requesting, you have things that you are stating out for those who want to actually send their proposals. So it is the convenience is there, the cost savings is there, because you already have things itemized. You have things figured out already. It is actually streamlined, because you know what you want. You know the terms that guide the kind of procurement that you need. So limited flexibility, potential vendor lock-in is also part of the disadvantages. So you have joint procurement. You can have joint procurement, okay, where you have shared resources, okay, or collaborative purchasing. Example of this is there are some some places you will go where you see multiple offices, shared offices. So when you enter the building, you can see like 50 companies actually using the same resources. That is an example of shared resources. So the procurement might be a joint one. For example, I've used this also before. There are some sites, some telecommunication sites, where you just have only one mast, but yet there is MTN there, there is Etisalat there, there is good. I've actually performed I've actually worked in the maintenance aspect of a kind of site like that before. I've had like several of them, like even up to like 3 of them when I was working in the telecommunication industry in Kano then. So do we have MTN, Etisalat, and Group collaborating on the maintenance of that site, because the site is actually serving both of them. So anything that is that happens to be expenses on the procurement of maintenance services in that particular site is being jointly financed by these telecommunication companies that have their own panel there. So there can be joint procurement where you have more than two organizations collaborating on the procurement. Economies of scale, reduce administrative burden. It makes everything easier for you economically and in terms of administration. So there are many case studies are prepared for you here on every aspect of these procurement I've mentioned. Look at these construction projects. The government agency used open procurement to select a contractor for a large-scale infrastructure project, ensuring transparency and competition. I've explained all this, but I just have them itemized. I've explained all these in my explanation. Okay, we have had this explained. So let's talk about types of contracts. Okay, so the first one is fixed contracts. Fixed contracts. This course will not be complete without talking about this. It is very important because a lot of people may be new to procurement management. Please, if you are with me, do give me thumbs up. Thumbs up if you are with me. If you have been with me up to now, I need you to give me thumbs up. Yes, that's wonderful. That's fantastic. So thank you so much. So let's move on. Fixed price contract. So as it stands, so you can have the acronyms FPC. So a type of procurement contract where the supplier agrees to provide goods and services for a fixed price. So you have a fixed price. So one thing that you must note about the characteristics is that what the price is actually what fixed for the entire project. So this kind of project, you can say, oh, how much will you supply 10,000 units of it? They say, oh, we'll give you 2 million naira. So this is fixed. This is the kind of contract we are talking about. What are the other features? The supplier is the one that is bearing the risk of cost overrun. That's what happens to fixed contract. Anything can happen, anything can go wrong. Since we have actually agreed on the price, then we bear it. I don't want to hear the stories that the police stopped me on the road. They said what I'm carrying and everything. So this and that. So this and that. Some area boys, on the road, they said they will collect money and everything. We get the risk. They have agreed on the fixed price. Buyer pays fixed price regardless of the actual cost, irrespective. It's what we have agreed on, I will pay. And then in this kind of situation, must have actually a clear scope of work and specification. Like what I mentioned, this is very, very clear. The scope is clear. I need 1,000 units. How much will you supply? The scope is very, very clear. There is no uncertainty here. Nothing less, nothing more. Okay? So we also have I want to go into I just want us to look at those contracts. Yes, we also have what we call cost reimbursable contracts. Cost reimbursable contracts. So in this, feature is that what the supplier invoices buyer for actual cost. So you have the actual cost. So the only thing that you are doing here is that the person is only is only being paid. Supplier is only being paid, a fixed price, maybe for the service rendered. You will be the one to go and buy. There is no fixed price for the purchase. You buy, that's what we call it reimbursable. So you are only reinforcing the supplier. The supplier will spend his own money. He will use his own money, the contractor will use his own money to buy the goods and get you evidences of the actual cost. So when the person comes, they present the invoices that they have gotten, and when they present whatever they have spent, it must actually reimburse them. When you have actually already gone through the documents they presented for you to know the actual cost, it is after then you will now pay them for the services rendered. I hope we understand this. So in the features, the buyer reimburses supplier for cost and plus the fee for profit. So you pay them. You can send, there are a lot of people that are doing this right now. They can go to market for you. They will do the shopping. They will get you the invoices. I bought this for 4,000 and bought it for this. And so you may even tell them, so this is what you need to do for me. You need to go to market and buy all these things. How much will you collect as your own service payment? So it is that one that is actually their own profit. But the actual cost is being actually catered for by you as the the person giving the what? The contract out. So I have a lot of things actually what that I've explained, okay? A lot that I've explained, I have them itemized. Another one I want to talk about is the time and materials contract. So in this case, you only the payment is actually based on actual time and materials. Now I will explain this. You pay the person for the time that they use and the material that they use. For example, the person can say, you know, I'm charging you $1,000 per day of my work. This is what we are talking about. So there are some contracts like this. I've done, you know, a lot of contracts like this before, and I still have some that I do like this. They may tell you that, okay, fine, for your 1 hour, how much will you charge us? That's a time and, you know, like a time and material work contract. So you cannot charge them that was, okay, if I say 1 hour and I use I use so for you, I use so for you. Based on these materials and the time I've actually used, this is what the amount I will charge you. So what are the what characteristics? So payment is based on actual time and materials. No fixed price for the project. Supplier provides what detailed records of time and what and materials. So you have to actually tell them those. This is the materials that you have to present evidence, and this is the time I've actually worked for. So they pay you based on that. And the buyer assumes what the cost, the risk of what cost overrun. So the overruns risk is actually what on the what buyer. Okay. So you can have, you know, you can see the types. There are a lot of them I've actually analyzed. Our hourly rate contract, unit price what contract, hybrid, which can be what the combination of what of both. So there are examples here. Look at the example. $100 per hour. This is what the time-based contract. Okay. Estimated project duration is 100 hours. And then, so if the person work for 100 hours and is charging what $100 per hour, so what you just do is what you multiply 100, okay, by what 100, okay. The hours that the person actually work for is actually what you pay the person. But in this case now, the actual time the person now work is 120 hours. The budget that you have, what you have estimated is 100 hours. But the person used what 120 hours. You will still have to pay him. So the cost overrun will be on the what? On the buyer, which is what the project manager now or the project work company that gave out the work contract. But if I tell you that I'm charging 100, the point here is that if I tell you that I'm charging $100 per hour, numbers of hours that I work will be multiplied by what 100, and that will tell you the amount that I will go with as my own target. Okay, so it's very important. We also have what we call unit yes. We have unit price contract. What are the unit price contract? I've mentioned, you know, something like that before. I can say I only need 1,000 units of it. That's unit based contract. I'll say I'm giving you as 2 million naira. If you increase the units, 2,000 units, okay, I may reconsider with some discounts, further discounts, and tell you that, oh, instead of giving you what, I gave you 1,000 units in 2 million naira. So it may be expected that what I give you 2,000 will be 4 million naira. I can say, okay, since you are buying more and you want me to supply more, just bring what 3.8 million. 3.8 million naira. Okay, so we can also add contract. Let that be handled. I'm concluding now. So in conclusion, okay, effective project procurement management is crucial for achieving project success. I cannot overemphasize that. And you should see that what in this training, what are the things that you should take away from this training? You need to understand procurement life cycle and contract types, like I've explained. So when you understand this, it will help you as a project manager before you actually go for the contract. That's the essence of this. You must develop effective procurement strategies and plans. Your plan must be strategic. What are the plans? How do you want to get, your suppliers? Will you use what? Open procurement? Are you going to use what? The negotiated what? Procurement? Okay. Are you using the streamlined one? So all these you must predetermine before you actually want begin your procurement, administration. Conducting thorough risk assessment and mitigation is very important. You should be realistic. You can't say, if the contractor is optimistic, telling you that, oh, don't worry, we will deliver within 3 months. You should not fall for that. You should be realistic. And this is where expert judgment actually come in. There are experts that can tell you that it is not possible for this thing to arrive within 3 months. And then you know that what? They are over-promising. That kind of contractor is over-promising, and that can affect your project. So you should actually be able to adjust, based on the risk assessment and for you to actually mitigate the risk. What if they don't supply us on time? How do you want to deal with that? So you have to have your mitigation plan. You can see how risk management actually comes into this. Manage the contract and supplier relationship. You need to actually have a good relationship with them. You need to track the performance of your procurement. Okay. You need to ensure that there is compliance with laws and regulations. And there are some tax related, things about your goods. So you must actually make sure that they are compliant with the regulations. Application, okay, of this. So by applying these concepts that we have learned and techniques, I'm very, very sure that you should be able to enhance project outcomes through strategic procurement. Strategic procurement will help you to actually have a good project outcome. It will help you to be a successful project manager in your project schedule management, project cost management, project quality management, and your project cost management. When you actually work with your project procurement management a lot, it affects the area of your baseline, your iron triangle, your project management triangle, your project procurement management affect them. If the procurement is not actually done properly, you affect the cost because you may shoot about the project. If you affect the time, if it is not delivered on time, it may affect the scope. Okay, if you have inferior materials or inferior services are being rendered to you, and overall, you have an overall effect on the project quality. So this knowledge that you have had, you should be able to minimize risk and maximize value, foster collaborative supplier relationships, and then ensure transparency and accountability. So I want to appreciate you for staying through with us on project procurement management. So over to you, Mr. Moderator.
Okay. Thank you very much, James, Polly, for that wonderful engaging session so far. Project procurement management. Actually, one very interesting area when it comes to project management. As many project managers, people for one way or the other relate directly to procurement. And it's very interesting for many people who are into government bids and the likes. I have a couple of very, very much into such. So they do with procurement products, contracts, how do you manage contracts, how do you ensure that contracts don't go. So a whole lot has been said by resource person, which I really expect that yes, we practice when it comes to managing. Okay, so thank you very much, James Kwame. Thank you very much for that wonderful knowledge delivered. Okay, so quickly let us take questions. Let's take questions. So please, If you have a question for us, just signify by raising up your hands. Okay. So please, if you have your questions, signify by raising up your hand so I can call on you to and be able to take those questions and attend to them. We still have good 15 minutes to do that. Okay, so questions on all that has been covered so far on project procurement management. Okay, Jacinta is saying, okay, I really missed out. It's good to be back. Yes, it's good to be back, and we are glad to have you back in class. So please just try to catch up with all the classes that you have missed, so that you'll be able to attend to the necessary assessments that are already, we've released so far. Okay, so please let's ask questions on project procurement management. Yes, I'm sure maybe perhaps some of us are busy with work, but yes, trust me, once you are able to come up with your questions, perhaps when you rewatch the class, you can as well drop those questions on the WhatsApp platform. We are going to do justice to them, sure that we are going to give a response to them all. Okay. Okay, so so far I've not seen any question. Let me quickly check our YouTube page to see if we have any. We have any from our YouTube participants. Okay. Okay, so far there is none. So far there is no question from that end. Okay. Okay, so I want to appreciate and commend us all once again for being a part of this training session, this wonderful class. Yes, so we have one more knowledge area to go. Which is on project stakeholder management. This is also one, part of project management I love a whole lot. Yes, because in the course of your project, you encounter different various stakeholders with different interests that can either mark or make your project. So as project managers, what are the tools, what are the techniques, what are the methods you can use in managing this category or set of individuals? So you don't want to miss that class on project stakeholder management. And it goes beyond just projects alone. It goes beyond projects. It even relates with leadership. Yes, people who are into the leadership positions and the likes. So how do you manage the different stakeholders that you lead or that you serve? Let me use that word. Okay, so please, in tomorrow's class, don't miss it for any reason. So at the end of today's class, we are going to be dropping the assessment on project procurement management. So please put the assessment and the recorded videos we dropped on the WhatsApp group. So please endeavor to do the assessment. So this will be the 9th assessment that we are dropping so far in the course of this training or course on project management. So please let us endeavor to attend to them. Okay, so before we dismiss from today's class, Jacinta, if you can hear me, would love to have your feedback of the class. Love to have your feedback of the class so far. How was the class for today? Jacinta, can you hear me? Okay. Dotsable Boro, if you can hear me, we'd love to have your feedback of today's class. Dotsable Boro, if you can hear my voice, love to have your feedback. And if you are in a place where you can't speak, you can just do us the honors of dropping the feedback in the comment section. Would be glad if you can do that for us. So let's have your feedback of today's class so far.
Okay, so this is Francisco.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Francisco. Please go ahead.
Okay, so though I'm on transit, I'm on the road, so I'm on the road. But it's only when there was a certain area where there's no network that I went off like twice. But I really learned a lot of new things, procurement management, and just as usual, it has only been an awesome teaching, true teaching. I want to say a big thank you for taking out all your time to take us deep into BMP. For someone like me who is adding going to this course for the first time, I've learned a lot, and it's kind of adding more knowledge to me. It's really on my job also. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Francisco Michael, for that wonderful feedback. Yes, we are glad that, yes, it is really an LP, that the course is really doing multitude. So thank you very much for that great feedback. Okay, so on that note, I want to appreciate everyone. So please, the assessment, let me remind us again, let us do them. Let us do them. It's quite important. And also the certification, the deadline for the special discounts is coming to an end, which is, I think, this Saturday. So please let us try as much as possible to see what we can do in order to be able to take hold of that opportunity. And after Saturday, the second discount offer will take effect. So please, if you can meet up with the special discount for Saturday that ends on Saturday, so you can make do with the next possible discount. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. So tomorrow again, which is going to be the final day for this training, I want us to be here. So don't worry, don't bother about maybe the number of people that we have in class. It's a common thing, yes. And still in today, we still have other trainings that we have to attend to. So we want to encourage you, yes. So when opportunities like this don't come out, don't miss out on them, yes. Like there's a common saying that many were called, but few were chosen, yes. Just a few will be able to benefit from opportunities like this. And I'm glad that, yes, you are one of them. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. Mr. James Fanny, our resource person, do you have any parting words for us? Any parting words, Mr. James?
Well done, Mr. Kende. I'm just excited that we are done with the ninth knowledge area. So we are moving to the last one, which is the project stakeholder management. I just want to appreciate everyone who have been faithful, although a lot of people on this live class, they are few, but I do hope that others who couldn't join live classes are actually going through the recorded session. I want to encourage every one of us to be much more committed and serious with our certification. Although we make the certification gain values from this training. So I'm encouraging us to commit to making payments for the certification. 3rd of May, the 3rd of May that we said will be on Saturday this week. So once that is over, you know that you are paying higher for that, and we are straight with it. So once the 3rd of May, even if we are 1 minute into the 4th of May, when you are making your payments, you are following the other discounts and not this current one. So let's be serious with that. We have given us room that it can be done in 2 installments. So you can actually go by installments to beat the deadline for this closure. So thank you very much. Learning is a continuous process. Let us continue to learn. Stay true with us. There are other trainings that are going on, even parallel to this one. Even after this session, by 2 p.m. Nigerian time, we'll still be on OSH training, that's occupational safety and health, that started yesterday. So let us try as much as possible to continue to increase our professional assets. Let us improve to build more and to achieve more. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Moderator.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. James. We appreciate that a whole lot. So on that note, we are drawing the curtains here on today's class. So till we meet again in tomorrow's class, do have a productive and a blessed day ahead. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you. Bye.